Hello, welcome back. Welcome back to a Pup in the Life. We are currently walking in this spring day. One of the first days of spring, I wish to call it so. We have been absent for a while because Mom was actually on a holiday. But we are so back, and I'm so back. you can see, you can hear it. And just give me 1 second. I am trying to work with the mic at the best that I can. I'm a dog, so I'm not a mic owner, as you know. So, lots of stuff to be talking about in this podcast. Many things going on in Mom's founder's life. Would probably not be enough to just close up on a few things that we are, that we want to share. There's lots of stuff going on regarding, people, finance, investment, product, general findings, new industries, lots of stuff going on, and lots of stuff, wandering and pondering in Mom's head. And we talked about it in the last episode about what we call adult pacifiers. And so we're trying not to take them as a pacifier, but rather instead something that inspires Mom to do something better and to better herself every day and learn new things and apply them to, the current state of things and, to see the future as well. But nonetheless, lots of shit that we could potentially share, lots of things that we can talk about. Not so much for the... But for today, let's focus on something that is occupying Mom's mind quite a lot lately, which is the difference between living and dying, and so to surviving and thriving and, just giving up. So we recently heard this on a podcast in a sentence that was it was by Doug Leone, partner at Sequoia, like really outstanding podcast by Invest Like the Best, Patrick O'Shaughnessy, really interesting podcast, I would say. And what he was sharing was dying is easy, living is hard. It's keep being alive that it's the hardest thing. And so we were actually trying to talk to ourselves a lot in the family this weekend, understanding really where's the difference between how most people approach to things, and not only business but also relationships, and how it's really probably the way in which they should be handled. So we tend to look at a very hard moment and say, this is too hard. At some point you feel it's too hard, and bear with me, sometimes it's too hard, and we already talked about this. But most of the times, why businesses fail, but especially why relationships end, is that you weren't able to work it out through a different moment, to a difficult time, And this is not to say that this is the way to solve all issues, but Mom has been, usually, and it's been, has grown up with the idea that if you think about something enough that's just so painful, and that you have some differences with somebody, and you need to be solving something, you're going to find yourself in the position where your need, your pain, can be solved through talking, just speaking, through communicating with the other person, with the other party involved. This is not to say communication solves everything, but basically yes. And if communication lags and there's no way for you to communicate with that person, with the other entity, well, then it still is communication. They're refusing to communicate, which is a communication by itself. And so if you're starting to get it, and to see what's in there for us, you shall see that if you were very clear about your needs, about your wants, you commit yourself to the relationship and you see that that is the thing. And bear in mind, this is also a business type of thing. So I'm not just talking about relationships. At some point, you're going to face hard moments. Very hard, quite hard, a little bit hard. It really depends. And the only way out is through. But do people accept that that is the only way out? Well, most don't. And that's why you abandon projects too soon. And that's why you abandon relationships too soon. And that's also why you probably didn't even try it first, because it's going to be so painful on the other end of the spectrum to just solve the fucking issue at heart of things. And bear in mind that when you don't do such a thing, you lose part of your skill. You lose an occasion. You don't match an opportunity to be better, to grow out of that bubble, of that level of skills that you now have. It's like Anti-Fragility by Nassim Taleb. It's if you don't have the ability to experience fucking pain, which is part of human life, you're never going to get on the other end. And this is not about the outcome, it's about the process. Now, if the outcome is good, well, yeah, if the outcome is bad, you will simply know that, you're going to do something else. You're going to meet somebody else, etc., etc. But if the outcome is good, what if it is good? You would have never known in the other way. And so thinking about this and realizing that the amount of shit that most people, most founders, I would say 100%, 99.9% of that, 99.99% go through to make their business survive. And the amount of shit that people with successful relationships go through is outstanding. But there is no way for you to avoid it. So think about the most successful couple you can think of. Think about them. And think about the fact that the relationship is not perfect, as you probably see. And if you know them very well, you'll know that they have some divergence at some point. They'll have some things that were not very clear. They'll have some tips. And if you don't know about it, but you're in a friendly relationship, and friendly enough, I would say, and intimate enough, you can ask them. Ask them, how did you overcome that challenge? This goes for relationships, for business partners, for friends, for lovers, for colleagues. Ask them. Think about a couple or a group of people that have for a couple it's easier, that have a good, in your opinion, and your objective is having their relationship. I'm thinking about specifically somebody, but maybe because I've seen a picture on Instagram of them posted by their son. These people are people in their 70s already. It's fucking long. They've been together since the 70s. Like, guys, 50 years. Think about them. Ask them. And I'm sure you think about somebody. Think about business partners that have been in that all together, that maybe sometimes, they fought, they had some differences, and of course they have. They're humans, but how did they go through that? So just not to leave this podcast to, okay, go do this, which by the way, it is. think about the fact that most of the times we unilaterally decide to live it. Now, sometimes it's good because if incentives are misaligned at first, it's good to know, and it's good to avoid to keep going into different directions together. But what if they were aligned and at some point it misaligned, and what if it's fixable? And I'm sure you know that some things you cannot fix, but some things you can. It's just fucking hard. But that's the way it's supposed to be. So if you're ever encountering such a moment in life, but you're not regretting your choices, and you know, even with mistakes, you've done the right thing, just keep in mind that couple, that group, even that band that stayed together no matter what. You know, band split. That's what they do. Because at some point, their incentives misalign. But you know, ciao. In order for you to be successful in what you're trying to build, whether it's a family, you know, group of friends, a business, you need to get through. And sometimes you're even alone in getting through, but that's your relationship with the business. Your relationship with yourself in the business before and after. Now, I don't want to get into that too much, but you get what I'm saying, because this audience of this podcast is quite already self-defining and you already know what I'm talking about. So please take into consideration that there is no way for you to avoid at some point this inflection point. And the only thing that works is getting past it. And the only way to getting past it is live it. It tastes like shit. It's like eating mud. And it's like bathing yourself in ashes. And it's like drinking lava. It's awful. But this is all there is. Now, this is all for today. I'm sending you kisses, hugs, and a bit of barks. And please pick your couple and see what works. Bye.